Okay, guys, so I had to be really quiet. But I just got in trying to do 2 lives. It did not work out. So now I am going to pick up where I left off with the child abuse and everything, with the angel, beast, and all of that. But what I was wanting to do in my lives was trying to ask everybody what they thought was actually going to happen. If people actually thought the AI was going to get huge and work with the 5G, and that's what we would all be in danger from, or if they thought the military was going to come in and wipe us out, or would it be both put together? Now, what is going on right now, there's so many bad things going on. I cannot cover every bit of it. It is horrible. Now, what I'm going to tell you about, sorry guys, is we're going to talk a little bit more about this. I'm sorry guys, I know my last video ended in mid-sentence. I had worked on that video for a long time, so that is why I just went ahead and let it up that way. Now, when I was talking about that, I was talking about how, where they fracture your mind and they have the child's consciousness kind of goes on pause. That's whenever they start with breaking up the different like alter egos, whatever they call them, alters. But if you think about that, altar, just like you worship at an altar in a church. Not to mention that they have sacrificing altars, just think about some of these words that we use daily like they're nothing, but they build another personality. But no matter what, we always have that little child inside of us that is seeking to please people, seeking to get acceptance and approval, and to be liked. Now, here is a couple. I'm just going to show you a few of these, okay? So, hypnotism appears to have been used in some cases by the Soviets. Now, we all know that World War II is whenever the MK Ultra and all of that stuff kind of started happening. Well, there is proof now that they have actually it released a Rockefeller 299-page document, and there was a lot more released too. But in all this stuff, they found out about all these different names of all these other programs, and they realized that they could do anything. Now, here's just a few of the names of the projects that they had done. Almost everyone in the United States has been subjected to programming, whether it be the harsh traumatization and the abuse like SRA victims go through, or whether it be through the media, the fake news, the television, and all of that. So this is the beginning of it. Okay? And, oh crap. Sorry guys. Okay, so as we go through this, this was to hypnotize people. Okay, so I'm going to let you read some of this for yourself while I finish talking about why this became so important to them. Okay? They wanted to be able to control us. They wanted to be able to get in our minds and figure out things that they didn't know, so they could access anything. Well, they were caught actually they've done so many experiments with LSD, but they also was putting LSD in mixed drinks at bars, restaurants, at the beach, to all kinds of U.S. citizens back then, and no one had a clue about it. And this one is, this is their question. This is one thing that they asked and that they wanted to know. Can an individual be made to perform an act of attempt assassination involuntary under the influence of artichoke? And this is what they done. This is what some people today still have. And they are pretty much assassins, but it's not their main persona, basically. It is an alter, and to bring out that personality, to bring it to the surface, they need a trigger word, which is what we went over in the first part. And here's a little bit more of the documents. It's attempted assassination involuntarily, but it talks about how they pretty much put you in like the way they want to put you in this. I can't really explain it other than to use LSD on people, because LSD reacted so much back then, like what they needed, and how they needed people to perform all of these. And what I'm showing you right now, these are all important things. Dr. Cameron, there's a lot of things. I'm showing you things you should go look up. Don't just take my word for them. These are all important things that you should all know. This is a woman that she went in for anxiety, I think it was, and they diagnosed her as a schizophrenia. They put her in what they called the sleeper rooms, and they put her in a drug-induced coma while they done shock therapy repeatedly over and over on her while she was in a drug-induced coma. And they have studies. She knows her name, but that is about all. She couldn't even remember anything. When it was all over, this poor woman had to go through and be potty trained once again. There's so many of these people that haven't gotten to speak out because they don't remember, or they just don't know what happened to them. Now this guy, it talks a lot about him. I can tell you the nature of it accurately. One was on studies consciousness, in which they rocked the heads of animals back and forth to try to cause them amnesia by concussion of the brain. And it was for $110,000. Now think about that. This was back 19. They try to act like all of these experiments started in the 70s. Some people say they started in the 50s and ended before the 60s. But they have documents of them being from the 50s up to the 70s, and there is still accounts of them going on till today. And this one right here, it goes down a little bit further. The other, which was funded through the later business, was the use of radar to put monkeys to sleep to see if they could be, should I say, instead of Mickey Finn, they could put them under with radar directed toward the monkey brain. Basically, this was them wanting to try to basically get into the middle of the brain. And if you want to think about it like cooking meat, and then you cut it open in the middle to see if the middle's still red or not, and bloody, however you like it. Anyways, they had to go very deep. And the picture on the last one was of that, them, doing it. He told them that they could do it, but they had to access the innermost part of the brain, which could kill them. Okay, and he says, could they? He says, did they go to sleep? And he says, yes. And he said, yes, sir. But Senator, it showed if you got into deep asleep, you injured the heart center of the brain, the way you cook meat, and there was a borderline there that made it dangerous. Now, that tells you everything you need to know. I just told you. Here's another one. Okay, we'll get into this one too. This one is about the LSD. It talks about they had prostitutes that would go out and get guys, and they called it a safe house, but it wasn't a safe house. The prostitutes would go out, get the guys, bring them back to a room, make them a drink, and there would be a mirror in the room, but it would be a one-way mirror. Well, a two-way mirror, but you couldn't see on the other side of it. There would be a doctor or a scientist or Cameron on the other side, and they would detail how these men acted after once receiving the drink that the prostitutes had mixed with the LSD. Now, a lot of people don't realize how involved and how much they actually allowed this to go on. So, report to the president. Okay. Now, this is going to be another person. Let's see how long. Okay, I'll talk to you for a second, but I want to do another video with his death, because this man, Olson's death in the family, is a very big story. So I don't want to cover it just yet, in a little bit of time I have left. But all this information, I want you to look at it and go through it yourself. But this all is part of the mind control breaking. This is how they got to where they realized they could break down the brain. And this is how they realized that you could be hypnotized. This is how they realized that you could be made to do things that you wasn't aware of by them building that persona inside of you without you knowing it. It would be subconsciously. So in order to break free of these alter egos, or these other personalities, it's very hard. You have to kind of bring them to the surface, and you have to try to free them. And one needs to take over, which is the actual consciousness that was born and came to be. Anyone out there going through this, I know this is a struggle and this is hard. So I hope and I pray for y'all, and I hope that for other people that don't exactly understand it, that this might help you understand it just a little bit more. Now, I did try to do 2 lives today, but I couldn't get them working. I apologize, guys. I'm having to be hidden. I'm having to stay quiet, and it's been pouring rain, and I'm really cold, and I'm sick, and I can't just go get Wi-Fi right now. I want you to know that I'm praying for y'all, and I want everyone to know that I will try to do another live at some point. But right now, just think about it this way, okay? No matter what, we have God on our side. Put on the full armor of God, and God's got your back. And stop looking down at all these devices and start looking up. And I am curious to know what people think will happen. There is so much more that I need to go over. My other channel had all this already out and explained, and now I'm starting over with this new channel, so I'm trying to break it down for people and explain it again to the new people that might come to me. I know you shouldn't just assume everyone knows about it. So, may God bless you, and you will always be in my prayers.